Following what was a weekend of absolute quality Rugby World Cup action, in which all four of the quarterfinals went right down to the last 10 minutes, with a few of the games going deep into overtime as well. Special mention to Ireland versus New Zealand, which went deep into the phase count, nearly 40 phases at the end of that game, which ultimately made for compelling viewing for those neutrals watching. And if you're supporting your team, it was nail-biting stuff. Either ecstasy or ultimately devastation were the two main emotions felt at the end, depending on which side of the fence you fell. In this video, I'm going to be naming my team of the week based upon this weekend's quarterfinals. So many amazing performances and amazing players to choose from. So many of these positions are completely interchangeable, so please do let me know in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree and which players you would swap in. I'm going to start off with the front row, as always. Now, two of these front rows actually came on the losing side of the results. I'm going for Cyril Bai, Malvaka and Tyrell Lomax. Excellent performance there from Cyril Bai on the loose head. Not often do you see a loose head prop get a brace in a quarter-final especially, and against the mighty defence of the Springboks. Add on top of that one of his tries was scored in the wide 5 metre channel. Really does go to show what an incredible prop he is, and what he can do around the field as well as scrum time does definitely set him apart from many other props. His try in the 5 metre line to be able to spot the space and create an overlap even as a loose front rower was just unreal. Quick hot potato pass from Damien Penaud stuck him in the 5 metre line, which was very good to watch. Malvaka, similar to Cyril Bai, was brilliant around the park, very mobile. I think he made like 20 metres off one carry, which was sort of a pickup of a loose ball. And he looked very threatening throughout the whole game. I love seeing him peel off of that line out, running it into midfield. Was very good to watch. And on the tight head, Tyrell Lomax. Now, going back over the years, one of the areas in which you'd look to target New Zealand was actually their scrum, and I thought it was an area in which the Irish could probably gain the upper hand. And Tyrell Lomax simply tore up the script and said, "That's not happening today." And he was simply phenomenal in the front row, getting quite a few penalties at scrum times for the All Blacks. Andrew Porter was penalising a lot down to his pressure that he was applying. And around the field, he was making some real solid hits as well. And the All Blacks really did come out firing in that game. And he was definitely part of the crew which repelled the Irish attack on many of occasions. Very impressive stuff from Tyrell Lomax. He'll have his work cut out if they manage to get to the final against the Springboks, which is likely to be the case. Because, the Springboks are a different sort of power dynamic to Ireland. Ireland have got a brilliant front row, but the South Africans, especially against their old foes, the All Blacks, will definitely bring it. But superb this week from Tyrell Lomax. Into the second rows, an easy option here, Eben Etzebeth. And Maratoji gets in for me at number 5. Now, just to touch on Eben Etzebeth, probably the player of the round in all honesty. He saved the early try, which was debatable whether it was a deliberate knock-on or went backwards. At the time, I thought he was going to get yellow carded, but looking back at it, that ball probably does go backwards when he tries to intercept it in the first 10 minutes in the French game, which ultimately stopped France from going 14-0 down inside 10 minutes, which could have completely changed the game. And then ultimately, Eben Etzebeth scored that late try, which put the Boks into the lead. I think there was 6 points down. That put them 1 point into the lead, which was really phenomenal from Eben Etzebeth. Ran directly at Mathieu Jalibert, and he got over the try line from 5 metres out. Impressive stuff. Maratoji. Now, England really needed some of their forwards to step up in this game, and Maratoji was one of them. Line-out time was very disruptive. Maratoji, going back 4 years probably, was in most people's sort of combined World 15. He slipped out of that by quite a way due to his discipline mainly. But I do feel like he's on the rise again. He's finding his form and he's finding his feet. And it was good to see Maratoji back to somewhere near his best. Very powerful around the park. But he'll definitely have his work cut out next week against the Springboks, which are a completely different level to the Flying Fijians, despite them being impressive themselves. Into the back row, I've gone with Courtney Lawes, I've gone with Sam Cane, and I've gone with Ardie Savea. Now, Courtney Lawes as well, I'm never usually biased to the English, and I don't feel like I'm being biased, but please do let me know if you feel I am. I thought Courtney Lawes was absolutely instrumental into the English performance and the English victory on the weekend. Loads of turnovers from him. It's not so powerful around the field, that's probably the wrong word to use, but his commitment to the carries, especially as England don't really use their whole pack to ball carry, and they really do rely on some key figures, and he's one of them. Made so many carries, absorbed so many tackles, and in defence as well was absolutely relentless. So brilliant stuff from Courtney Lawes. England need him to be at the top of his game if they're going to challenge the top sides. And it's good to see Courtney Lawes get back to some quality form. Sam Cane, now he was so impressive this weekend. He's a player which gets a lot of stick from the public. He's obviously in the famous All Black 7 jersey, which was worn notoriously by Richie McCaw. And look, you can't fill his void in All Black rugby. It's just simply impossible. But Sam Cane in this game put in one hell of a performance. Tackling was just on a different level. Superb hits going in from the very first minute. A nightmare at the breakdown. And look, he was one of the key All Black names in which got them over the line in that game. So fair play to him. Some brilliant stuff. Ardie Savea, similar to Sam Cane, all of the All Blacks team came out with such a high intensity and really did take it to the Irish and were phenomenal in doing so. Ardie Savea's ball carrying, defensive work, his ability over the breakdown, he literally did it all in this game. And in the last passage of play, where Ireland were knocking on the All Blacks' door to try and secure a penalty to kick to the corner or ultimately score the try, which was the main prize, he got over that ball. He didn't win it, but he put so much pressure on the Irish breakdown late on in that game, which ultimately put them in the position to get the turnover and secure the win. At number 9, also on the losing side of things, was Antoine Dupont, and at 10 I've gone with no other than Richie Mo'unga. Antoine Dupont, although on the losing side, was back to his very best. Coming off of what was a very nasty injury to his cheekbone, he was back to his best and playing some unreal stuff, finding the space incredibly well, kicking superbly, plenty of little box kicks, shallow box kicks for Jalibert to get onto, which led to the first French try, and then some real good kicking as well for his wingers to chase, as well as being so dynamic and spotting the space unbelievably. Antoine Dupont, one of the best players, if not the best player in the world, playing some unreal stuff. Richie Mo'unga, look, I can't really compliment these players enough. Mo'unga was simply incredible. He had so much pace in that game, really challenged the Irish defence. They couldn't drift off of him. He made so many sort of really important involvements in the game. His goal kicking was really on point with some real tough conversions from the wide out areas. And ultimately it was his break that led to the Will Jordan score, which put the All Blacks in a brilliant position to go on and win the game. So he deserves his slot in the team for me. And then in the centres, I've gone with Geordie Barrett and I've gone with Jesse Creel. Now, Geordie Barrett, there's a big argument in here for Bundyaki. Even though he was on the losing side, Bundyaki was simply sensational. But I'm going to give it to the team in which came out on the right side of the result, mainly because of the huge involvement of Geordie Barrett at the back end of that game. He was solid throughout, making some good carries, but it was ultimately his ability to hold Rowan Kelleher up over the line and stop the Irish from scoring and going on potentially to win the game. That was a huge involvement. And then there was 2 vital penalties, one from about 50-something metres out, in which could put the All Blacks in a very good position to hold on and get them outside the 3-point margin, in which the Irish, if they got a penalty, would have gone to posts. So that was ultimately very important for the All Blacks. Jesse Creel, a player in which I've not always been impressed with. I thought sometimes, is he world class? Is he quality enough to fit into the South African 13 jersey? But I think he proved his worth tenfold in this game. Some brilliant running lines, some good tackles, and then what was ultimately an incredible little grubber, which was perfectly weighted. I don't think he could have done it any better if he tried 1,000 times. Put the ball on the money for Cheslin Kolbe, and he ran in. Brilliant stuff from Jesse Creel. Now, speaking of Cheslin Kolbe, he gets in on the left wing, and I've gone with Will Jordan on the other wing, and then at fullback I've gone with Beauden Barrett. Now, I haven't managed to fit in any Argentinians into this side, despite being very good this weekend. Maybe Emiliano Boffelli gets in on the wing, but I just thought Cheslin Kolbe, you can't not have him in there. And Will Jordan was simply phenomenal as well. Maybe a shout from the Argentinians' point of view in Malvaca, maybe swapping out for Montoya, but I think this is probably the best team. Let me know your thoughts once again. On the left wing, Cheslin Kolbe ultimately got the charge down in which stopped Tomas Ramos from securing the conversion. Unreal stuff. In a game of such fine margins, they really do count. The South Africans won the game by a point. He saved a potential 2 points there. I'm not saying that the Box wouldn't have won and then wouldn't have found a way to win if he didn't charge it down, but these things really do add up. and he was unreal on the counter-attack. Brilliant feet, always got the South Africans on the front foot and was incredible. Will Jordan showed some real quality touches in the All Blacks game against Ireland. Ultimately scored a very good try off a good support line for Richie Mo'unga, and I thought he was really classy throughout the game. Some good kicking, some good aerial work as well, and his pace is just simply undeniable. Another Kiwi at fullback, Beauden Barrett, a player in which many would have thought the best years are behind him. People have always called for Damien McKenzie to fill in at fullback, or even for Will Jordan to move across to fullback and then maybe bring in Caleb Clark or something like that. But Bodie really did show his levels at Rugby World Cup. He's scored some famous tries in an All Black jersey, none other than the seal and the icing on top of the cake in the 2015 win in the final against Australia, and he's sort of found his way back to somewhere near his best. Ultimately, his chips and chases in the game were simply unreal, and put the All Blacks in a brilliant position to score the first try with a little interchange down the left wing with Fainga'anuku and Rieko Ioane. The ability to find the space in which was very difficult to sort of see was unreal. Defensively, he's a very good mouthpiece and organises things so well, but his ability to find the backfield space with little chips and get the All Blacks on the front foot in very sort of innovative ways was very, very special, and shows why he's a two-time Rugby World Player of the Year. So that is my team. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be very interested to see who you think could swap in and out. Ultimately, as I said, there's no Argentinians who came out on the winning side of the result, and there's only a couple English, but I thought the main performances came from the South Africans and the All Black sides, with a sprinkle of some French incredible play in there as well. Let me know your thoughts. I'll read all the comments as always, and thank you very much for watching.